You got this shit knocking though.
Yeah. Chew.
God, shit was
Loud, I know.
All right, man, we are back with the Not So Cool podcast, episode 51, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay, episode
51.
And you always know we got another very special guest in the building with us, Mr. DJ Rogers.
Yeah, man.
Good. What's good?
Oh, he gonna hit us with the cool voice.
What up, man?
There we go.
What's good, ladies?
Yeah. Oh, no, don't get him in trouble.
Ain't no trouble.
Oh, ooh?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
Breaking
later.
news.
Yeah. Man, what's been up, bro?
Man, same thing you've always seen me doing, just working, man. And of course, same thing you do, work and fatherhood, and
Yeah.
that's about it, really.
Getting it done, man.
Yeah.
All right, I see the Astra World merch over there.
I got my
yeah.
same T-shirt in my bag.
Yeah, my free tea. Yeah, you know.
I had to pay for mine.
No, I went to the little event. He had, the listening party, and he was giving out all the free merch.
Yeah, that's what I saw you, man. We up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't get the free merch.
I think I had an event.
It was so last minute. Well, they announced so last minute.
It was announced like 1:00 that day. He announced it, man.
That's good enough.
And then it was like 3,500 kids.
Was it? I thought it was later. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
I remember it may have been
It
later.
was that afternoon.
With Travis Scott's power, he could say whatever.
Yeah,
And everybody gonna show up.
That line out there was crazy.
Yeah.
So, for people who don't know what your real name is, could you get that?
Justin Rogers. Man.
Justin Rogers,
Yeah.
man. So just
I didn't even know that.
yeah. So it just was that was like an easy way to pick your name.
As a kid playing sports and all that, coach will always call you by your last name. You know what I'm saying? So I was always teased as Mr. Rogers neighborhood, especially growing up in the '90s. It was just like a running joke. And then when I got into the music stuff and the DJing, what really got into it was rapping, believe it or not. And then it was like, Mr. Rogers, that was the name. So yeah.
So for the people who don't know exactly who you are, I just want to give like a quick little backstory. Of course, called you DJ Rogers. We know you're a DJ, but kind of give us a little more backstory on that.
Man, always been into music. As a kid, my dad, he used to have a nightclub and a crazy music collection.
Yeah.
So like a weekend warrior, just spending time with my dad's. Like we'll be at the club sometimes, and he'll have like DJ equipment up there, and I was always playing the music. Or at his house when all his friends were there, I was always the selector. I was always playing the music they wanted to hear from his CD collection, and then over time I amassed my own music collection, and so I was always the kid that whenever somebody had a party or whatever, I had the stereo system. I'll bring it over and I'll play the music on a little CD changer or whatnot.
Got a little fly running around here.
I don't know, shoe fly.
Don't bother me. But yeah, man.
So you were pretty much that guy or that kid at that time with that bringing in the DJ equipment.
Well, just the music. At that time I wasn't DJing,
Okay.
so like
Always
wanted
you guys. He'll tell you when you finish.
Okay. So yeah, so what got me into wanting to be an actual disc jockey and wanting the equipment was, of course, I was being into the music, but my boy Ramar, his mother would always throw him these parties at like a hall or something, a banquet hall, and she would hire a DJ. And so like where everybody else, was around, we called it freaking at the time, dancing with chicks. I was over there just staring at the DJ booth, just like was just watching what he was doing. And I was like, y'all always wanted some gear. And so like there was like an East Bay magazine for DJ equipment at the time. You just select, and I used to have it hung up all on my wall and all that, man, just saying I want this set up. Never happened. And,
The struggle.
Mom never was with it, you know what I'm saying? So ended up when I got to college at PV, long story short, that was
go ahead and give them the shout out. I said no PV stuff, but he still threw it in there.
I'm an alumni of Prairie View A&M, man. Proud alumni. Yeah. Definitely was a pivotal catalyst in my career, man, as a DJ, man. When I went to PV, just got lucked up with and linking up with this guy named Jonathan Geit.
Mm-hmm.
He was we were in the engineering program, so it was like the summer before my freshman year, and we were just all in the same dorm. His dad used to own a CD factory, right? There's a company called the CD Factory, which they did duplication services. And this is 2000, so like this is before you really had CD burners on the consumer market. So like he was one of the last guys to have contracted I guess converting all of DJ Screw's tapes to CDs or whatever right before his passing. His flies is really
This fly is like
killing
it
killing
right
it
now.
right now.
Hold on. Got him.
This man here.
Yes. That's going on the episode.
Boy, inner Bruce Lee over here.
Yeah, man. So he had like one of the last contracts doing DJ Screw's music.
Like converting them to CDs or whatever,
Okay.
right? So he did all like he was on the south side, man, right by the screw shop. He had like set up at the house. He did he had just had towers and towers of CD burners and whatever. So the homie guy had this in his dorm room back in at PV, and so he used to burn CD. One day I just had all these CDs and I was playing music out the room. He was like, "Yo, I burn CDs. Let me know if you want anything, and like make some copies of stuff." Anyway, long story short, I was like, "Yo, I got all these CDs. Let's put them on his little." He had the big iMac with the booty on it. The you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The colorful ones, the colorful
colorful
ones?
joints. So like, we would go over there on Napster, download different songs, or I'd take songs from the CDs I had, and I would make mixes. And then so one time we had a little party in the room, and people were like, "Yo, how are you playing all these songs on one CD?" And after that it was lit. I was like, "Yo, give me a list, and I'll make you a CD." So then, long story short, we were selling these mixes on the yard. Like that was my hustle. And man, I kind of just sold CDs until I was able to buy my own computer, own burner. And and then my roommate Sheldon, he bought a burner, and then we ended up going to Mars at that time. Before it was when Guitar Center was popping, but Mars was the other place where you get DJ equipment.
Yeah.
And I bought some little box of CD turntable joint, man, and that was kind of how it really all started, man.
Crazy.
Long story short.
For all the younger viewers, CDs are how we used to play
I forget that.
play music. Yeah.
Cars these days don't even have CD players in them no more.
Right.
No, mine does.
Yeah. Oh, yours does?
Yeah.
Yours does, bro? Mine doesn't have a CD player anymore.
Oh, word.
Like, no,
What kind of car?
Challenger.
Oh, word.
There's no CD
Wow.
player.
No
But I
CD
think
player.
I think 2017 was the last CD made. Like that was the last
last CD that was actually
last CD that was actually made.
wow.
Yeah,
So now everything is
It's
streaming.
a dead medium. I mean, it's good for merch purposes, I guess.
Yeah.
For sure. With artists with real
I think
followings.
it's just good to have a product still, because like I mean even vinyls are coming back. Like that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
thing,
I don't think it's gonna go anywhere because
cassettes
to
are coming back.
to hold the music, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know.
tangible items.
Yeah.
And people still want to get it signed. I mean, I've seen concerts where people are still trying to get their CD signed. It's not as in high demand. Like people ain't rushing to Best Buy to get a CD no more, but having it still holds value, I think, to a lot of people.
But it's all on the merch now, so it's kind of cool for the artists because they recoup more off of will depend on their situation, but more than likely, like if they're not going through a distributor, they're like self-distributing the vinyl or the CDs or whatever because it's like a merch item. It's valued just like the
shirt
game
or something like
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they're paying costs and then whatever
Yeah.
they make on.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and him had that convo about those shirts because we're like, bruh, it's easy for him to sell 100,000 T-shirts, and if he's paying, I've seen as low as $5 a shirt.
Right.
So if he's paying
Easy.
$5 a shirt and he's selling to you guys how much?
Yeah.
40, I think.
And the way the internet, so pretty much what the internet is, you're paying for a powerful enough server to handle 100,000 people hitting the website.
I ain't gonna lie, I ordered my shirt. This was before the event. I ordered a shirt. I ordered a bunch of stuff. Ain't got it yet.
See that? So he might not. The internet half is good.
No, I got my off-white one coming in. It's already on its way today. The Virgil one,
For
the little
real?
collab he did. But
Yeah.
that one came in. I ordered that one, and I ordered if you went to Astroworld.
Yeah, that's what I went to the
Astro-
actual
that
world.
one came
Yeah,
in.
I haven't got none of that yet.
Yeah.
I don't think
And then-
anybody gonna complain.
And then my DJ Screw one's coming in too sometime this week as well.
I might have to place another order.
Yeah, but
Send
I don't think he has the infrastructure on the back end. I think he got the
Trying.
infrastructure on the front end because that's what I've heard from several people. Like it's taking forever for this stuff to come. Somebody just got their Nas. When Nas did his thing, all his them shirts was fire, and he said, "Bro, I just got it like last week." That album's been up for a month or something.
Wow.
That's not long. I think longer than a month, but still, yeah, it shouldn't take that long. I mean, he was dropping stuff every single
lot
day.
of gear.
Yeah, I
saw that.
for like almost a week straight, just dropping something. So that's a lot of orders.
I'm sure the demand can be overwhelming.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the buzz
yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah,
They
true.
probably can't gauge and predict You know, like okay, it's gonna be this or that.
So, from not to cut you off, because we want to get as much info out
Oh,
of you,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
as
yeah.
possible,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
So from PV DJing, from PV CDs, then you get your DJ equipment.
So I go back. So while we were making these CDs at the time, and in between that the process of saving up the bread to get the equipment, another homie introduced me to PC DJ at that time, and he was like, "Yo, you can chop and screw on there," and everybody was just kind of doing stuff for fun. I was just on some like, "Yo, man, let me figure out how to make my own music or whatever." And so like in high school, man, you had a homie had a little studio. I used to try to rap and stuff like that, and I always thought that I was like some crazy lyricist or whatever. So I was like, man, I want to rap. And then like the homies used to always freestyle and stuff in the building in the freshman dorm. They was all from Houston, and I was from Dallas, but like I kind of spent a lot of my childhood in Ohio, so I didn't really talk like I was from Texas. And so I had this like real proper dialect, and it just didn't, I didn't fit in. You know what I'm saying? I was on some Kanye back in 2000 when everybody else was on some, gangster, going in like 50 Cent and all that. So it just didn't fit. Or they was on some real like Houston, Swisher House SUC type of freestyling. So then I realized that's what everybody was on. Everybody just was banging screw at that time. So we made a little makeshift studio in the room, and me and my roommate, man, we started this company called The Shit Factory, which was based off of my homie. His dad had those CDs called The CD Factory, and they had a stamp on them that it was a picture of a CD, and then it had factory. So whenever anybody got mixes from us, they'll put their name and put shit. And so it would be like their name and then Shit Factory. So we were like, okay, that's how my company DSF started. So we started making these mixtapes, and that was this mysterious guy named Mr. Rogers who was freestyling, just like Swisher House, Beltway 8, and SUC tapes and stuff. And so we just started pumping them out because everybody just wanted anything that was screwed up. So any new song that was screwed up, that was out, I would chop and screw it, put on this CD, and I would freestyle, and me and my boys would do that. And so for the longest, it was just like, yo, these dudes selling. I need them Shit Factory CDs, man. I need them CDs from the dude, Mr. Rogers, and then not knowing it was me.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing for a minute. I was just chopping and screwing, and then
You still rapping or just try do the whole rapping thing?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah, man, that went out the window. Bro. When times changed and it was like started going into the dope and trap and stuff and all that, I was like, man, I'm not about to rap on my way.
I'm in engineering school.
Yeah, I was a computer engineering tech major, bro. It was not happening. And so, man, when I got gear and got speakers, first party I ever did was a Q party. Shout out to Corey and Al. They booked me for the first part. My first party ever. That's the homies. Still to this day, we still ride. But so I just started doing every party because I was like, yo, PV, Black College, they party a lot. And at that time, the DJs that was popping there, shout out to DJ Slim, he was from the islands, and so he used to have it on Smash, and it was like he was like the only DJ there, so it was overwhelming. So I was like, yo, this is an open market, let me get in it. And then and not to discredit, but he wasn't from here, so he was on vinyl too, so I had an advantage because I was on CDs. I had all the new music right away. If he couldn't get to Houston to get to a record shop, he wouldn't have the new. So that was like I came in right at the right time where I didn't have to be on vinyl, because like at that time, man, it took a lot to become a DJ. You couldn't just say I want to be a DJ like you can today. Go to Guitar Center, buy a controller, and then have your laptop full of music. You know what I'm saying? Like it took a while to build up your library, bro, because you was buying crates of music, vinyl, and each single was, you spending $5 to $10.
Yeah,
So
because a whole vinyl was 21.
Yeah,
no, it was 23.
Yeah,
was it 23 or 20?
I mean,
it's over $20.
Yeah, for a whole vinyl, but for a whole LP. But like if you're buying, these singles, of course, and you need doubles, you need two of them, and they were like, $5 to $10. It was crazy, and so, I was like, I wasn't about that. Like I wanted to be on vinyl just for the technique purposes and for the art of DJing, but for party rocking, I had a big CD book, and I was a guy that was burning on the CD, so I had all these mixes.
Like 600 one to the
yeah. And my mixes were called Super Shit. That was the thing. So I went to like volume 50 something. That's what I was known at PV for, these Super Shit mixes, and they basically had all the new songs. So that became my crates. Each CD became my crate, like whatever was popping for that week or that month, and so it kind of set up my library to where when I DJ'd, it was just like, all right, he playing nothing but bangers. I ain't have to go to the crate and search for the hit. It was right there in the CD book, and I kind of just climbed
The latter.
ladder up at PV doing the parties. I was doing the step show CDs, so I was engineering them, mixing them, and all that. So I had all the frats and sororities on lock, and then I would do all the events, man, and that's kind of how it came about.
So like at this time though, it's more of like it's still more of a hobby though, right? You're still kind of like
It was a hobby and a hustle, man,
Yeah.
because like, man, in college, bro, like I had a routine where I was doing like a weekly or bi-weekly in SFA.
Mhm.
Like we'll go to class and shoot the Nacogdoches, or I'll go to TCU, I'll do UNT, I'll go to Texas State, like UTSA. I was in Lamar, and then back to PB, and PB we partied every week.
that's
Like
the
I had a
hustle.
weekly.
No, bro, that's how back in the day,
Yeah,
like
that's
that's we all would go because everything. If you think about it, we have within a 5-mile radius, you got like 10 colleges. So
Yeah, that's right,
anytime
yeah,
they're doing
yeah.
something, because SFA, when the Alphas do that was the party to
that
go
party
to.
up there.
Y'all had the Toga, y'all had the Noobs when they did their thing.
Mhm.
Q's did their thing.
Sam had the Sigmas had
The
had
thing.
Smash in the Alphas as well, and then, yeah, man, and then it was like, and then UT had Kappa Wing for Halloween. It was just
Texas
and the
relays.
relays was popping. It was
Back
actually
then.
legit back then.
So,
So yeah, we used to move around, like me and Steve, my boy Steve
oh
Bentham,
yeah,
man.
shout out to Steve.
Yeah, we just hop in, and man, we'll have a caravan. We just like tell a bunch of chicks on the yard, give them T-shirts, and they had DJMrRogers.com on it, and we're like, yo, you can go and party. We'll get y'all a room. Y'all come on. We take like 20 chicks out there with us and have like a caravan. And so like it was like,
I remember that van he
Roger's gonna
had.
bring everybody. They're gonna bring, he's gonna bring all the chicks. He's gonna bring all the PB with him. So it was like I would get booked just off of that.
Off the strength.
And so, and then we'll rock. And then after that, I got slowly into producing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, how did that happen?
So, my boy Dayton, his name Dayton Kendrick, also known as DJ. You probably know him around. He's an alpha from PB. He started. He was like he was in. I had classes with him, and he stayed in my building, and he got into producing like on Acid Pro,
Mhm.
and he introduced it to me one day and was just like, yo, this is how we doing. We making beats, and he was showing me he was sampling. This is back during the Heatmaker era, back during the Dipset era, when we was just taking all the samples and speeding them up and throwing drums on them. And I was like, yo, I want to do that. I want to make beats so bad, And so I had bought we got a Triton, man. I bought my boy Q Chambers had bought a Triton, man. We couldn't play the keys, couldn't do none of that. But this was easy because it was on the computer and it was just editing and chopping up stuff. So we started doing that, and then slowly, man, I built up drums and we were making these mixtapes and freestyling. And I had a class with a dude named Bobo named Lil B. He was in Slab, Slow Loud and Banging, which was Trey's, his crew for his mixtape crew, and that was Trey's cousin. So I was like, yo, come freestyle on some stuff, on the mixtape. He did, and I was like, yo, man, I'm starting to make beats. You know what I'm saying? Can you shoot some beats to your people? That's just, the hustler. And I ended up, gave him a pack of beats. He took it and gave it to Trey, and I got a phone call. And he was like, yo, come, one day I went out to the West, first time ever in the SWAT. I pull up to his house, and it was him and Zero. They was just sitting in the driveway. Zero had just got home, and he was like, yo, man, I really like this beat. And I'm like, which one? He played it, and it ended up becoming Swang. So
That's you?
yeah.
Oh,
so
shit.
that's Swang.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's where me and Trey's relationship started. That's why really my brother was
Yeah,
my
no, 'cause
first.
I was gonna touch on that too, because I didn't know you and Trey went that far
Yeah, we
back.
went that
Like,
far back, man. Yeah. So yeah, that's how that kind of kicked off my production career, and I was doing stuff for a bunch of Dallas artists and stuff like that as well, and then at that same time, cause I had got with Killer Calion,
Yeah.
and started doing mixtapes for him when he had just signed to Boss Hog, and Slim had just signed to Interscope. And one day Killer was like, yo, come to the studio, play some beats. And we go to studios in the back of this little CD shop called Exchanging Sounds on the north side. And I walk in, and it's a room like half the size of this, and it's Slim, all the Boss Hog in there. LaToya, it was when Slim was dating Toya, they was all in there. And he's like, and Rayface, which is Slim's older brother, was like, yo, play some beats. Played a bunch of beats, and then I didn't have a lot on me, and they were like, yo, you got any more? And I was like, yeah, I got some on this mixtape. So I give him the mixtape, he's playing, and he was like, yo, who mixed this? And I was like, I did. And he was like, you a DJ? And I was like, yeah. He was like, all right, Slim need a DJ. We need a DJ here to, chop and screw and record and all that. So
How old were you at this time?
Man, this was like my 4th year at PV. So I graduated in 5. So I was like 20.
So a 20-year-old kid.
22. Man, driving from PV every night, locked in. PV to Greens Point every night, bro. Like, that was the thing. I was locked in there. J-Dog had just got home. PJ had just got home. I'm just recording all, like, that whole era from, like, probably 04 to, man, I don't know, like 06, 07. I was, like, the engineer and the DJ and everything from Boss
So
Hall.
you were on some of their albums then?
Like, Chopped and Screwed, all the Boss Hall mixtapes back then. It was me and DJ Yellow Boy. And then, yeah, so, like, I would produce stuff on it, you know what I'm saying? That was like the thing for a minute. And then right at that time, Slim had got called to start going on tour, and he's like, y'all need a DJ. And I just kind of got pushed into that position, and that's how I became Slim's DJ.
Oh, it's crazy. Like, Houston has so much history, and like, I didn't get onto the scene till about the same age. No, because you're a little older than me, so that 2 to 3 year difference, I missed on a lot of stuff. So you were there during the M-Bar days and everything when it was like.
No, like, I got a picture. There's a picture. It was like, it's certain way. It's me right in the middle, like Blue Da Vinci and Jeezy. It was like a night with Jeezy, Blue Da Vinci, Pharrell. It was for Slim's album release party. Like, it was just it was like the most lit thing I've ever seen in my life, you know, especially fresh coming out of college. I mean, it was, at that time, I was probably Pharrell's biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
And we were around Pharrell, like, on the daily, man. It was crazy, you know, like,
That's for real.
like, we at Slim House. I had a studio set up at Slim House and recording. He in there, I'm in there making beats, and he just in there just chilling, like, it was just random, like, you know, coming out of college, never being around anybody famous, and then seeing the person y'all lives the most. It moved quick during that time, man. A lot happened, man. Yeah, a lot happened.
That's crazy.
No, because, like, I mean, of course, I'm younger than both of y'all, so, I mean, I was.
Chill, bro. Chill, bro.
I'm in, like 05 and 06, I'm probably, like, in middle school, yo. So,
Yeah,
so
wow.
Yeah, so when all this is probably going on, like, I've always been a Pharrell
You weren't
fan.
even allowed to listen to rap.
Yeah.
No, I was.
Oh,
I grew up
you
around
should.
music.
I was gonna tell him his mother was also a DJ.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, so my mom was a DJ. Like, she wasn't nothing huge. She was just like little
That's
shops
dope.
around here, and that's how I grew up around music. That's what, like, she had those 600 CD cases just full of CDs,
Yeah.
and that's how I would sell CDs in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Word.
Like, I would go, and that's how I would try to talk to girls. Like, hey, I
Yeah.
got that new, like, for real, like, the crazy, was it the crazy, Dangerously
Dangerously
in
in
Love?
Yeah.
I sold so many of that one just trying to talk to girls, and,
He
like,
talking about bootlegging Beyonce on her birthday.
In Houston,
On her birthday.
Beehive
I had to come up somehow.
takes a picture.
Funny
But nah,
Beyonce,
just
yeah.
Being that young and just, like, for me, it's crazy because, like I said, I was a Pharrell fan. I still am.
Yeah.
And just knowing, like, he was, like, I guess this close in the city, and I didn't even know. I had no idea what to even know. what the
No,
hell
during that Slim Thug time, he was here a lot,
That
bro.
was crazy. We were like, I don't know what video we were shooting. I ain't heard of that video, and then, like, Pharrell all of a sudden, like, wanted this remix. Because at that time when I ain't heard of that came out, I remember it was leaked and it had Jay-Z on it.
Yeah.
But then it was Slim Record, and then so he came and did a video, and he had Bun on it, and then he was like, yo, I want to throw a chick on it. So, like, the day of the video, so we running around the city. He's got, like, we at back and forth between the video and the studio, and they're, like, auditioning girls. Slim, him wrote a verse for a chick, and they, like, running, like, all these girls that can rap and who couldn't rap through the studio to try to get a chick, you know. And he's like, I'm just going to creatively develop a female artist right now, a female rapper for Houston right now on the spot, like, you know. And he's a creative genius, man. But the way, you know, he goes and, you know, was trying to push the envelope, was like, just seeing that work, I was like, man, this dude is on another level. But and they recorded, like, it was in the studio just locked in, just recording
That's crazy.
girl after girl. But I mean, ended up not coming out. But yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, I knew you had, like, an affiliation with Slim, of course, but, like, in the earlier days, because during a few years back when Slim released that little documentary video,
Oh, yeah.
I was there when he did that little.
Oh man, they
when
had
he
me. We
released
were in that.
that little theater. What was it?
Yeah, but no, the clip was from me at the Music Depot in
Yeah,
Greens Point.
yeah. So, like, that's, like, I guess that, like, I saw, like, okay, like, of course you've been around for, like, a while, and just to, like, really just hear all that story on that and finally, like, put that little piece of it together, it just all makes sense. Cool. It's cool to see and hear. It's dope, man. Just, like
So-
you said, so much history in Houston.
No, tons.
I didn't know about it.
This whole weekend, you seen all of those verses on the signs.
Yeah.
That was really, really dope. So,
Yeah.
Me and him had conversations before, and I'm like, I feel like the energy in the city is building up stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and we got a lot of new artists that are doing their thing, and then we're having some heavy artists, you know, like Travis. This album he really put on for the city. When he like the samples he used, the references he made, and I love, you know, I don't want to beef with the Beyonce people, but it's every once in a while like, oh, H-Town. But Travis was like, at the caliber that he's on, he really didn't have to do all that for the city.
No,
He
for sure.
really put on. He's doing events here.
I think he waited for the right time
Too.
where he, you know, he didn't shove like, oh, I'm gonna shove Houston down everybody's neck, you know, in the beginning of his career or whatever. He waited till he got to where he needed to be, to where like they're gonna listen to no matter what he talked about.
The
He
world,
could,
yeah, the
you know
world
what
will
I'm
take it
saying?
in.
He could have talked about Laredo, and they would have been like, oh man, Laredo lit, you know, not to discredit anybody out there, you know.
Yeah, Laredo. Yeah, but
Piss
no,
off the cartel
I
homies. No, but he waited to the right time, and he did a great job of like fusing the old with the new, like bridging that gap, man. So you know,
when I heard Big Tuck,
yeah.
listen, I was like, bro. So he didn't know. I was like, hey,
No,
bro.
I didn't know.
You
No,
knew who?
yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe it was somebody. Somebody was like, I don't know who the hell that is. And I was like, bro, that's Big Tuck. Like, when I was going to school, that was heavy. When that came on, the whole club, you know how Swag Surfing come on?
Yeah.
When that came on back in the day, it was the exact same
And,
thing.
you know, and it was just though like the Beastie Boys sample, man. Just you know,
Yeah.
the new style sample, and it was like, okay.
Wait, which
it
one was
right.
that? That one that went over my head.
So that was
So the Big Tuck sample is a Beastie Boy sample.
Oh,
so
okay,
the Not
that
a
I
Stain
didn't
on Me
know.
record.
Oh,
Yeah,
that I
you
didn't
know,
know.
it was like his biggest record that wasn't allowed to be big because of like the
Because of that,
sample.
like underground wise,
But
it was huge.
You know,
Okay,
yeah,
that
that's
makes
definitely
sense.
a Texas anthem.
Yeah.
For sure. But and he had a bunch of other crazy
That
records
stuff,
on it,
yeah.
from the D. Shout out the whole DSR family, man. Yeah,
I mean,
that was
I
always-
think a lot of people take away just from Texas in general. Like I say, I don't want to say take away, but too. Are you familiar with that brand Rude? RHUDI? It's pretty big brand, but he's based out in LA. And a lot of people wear his clothes from. Like he's done stuff with like Miguel and
Okay.
Travis wore his stuff. A whole bunch of people, but he did like a little. I guess he came to Texas for a little bit. He was spending a lot of time in Sugarland, in Sugarland and in Dallas, and he released like two shirts where it just says Sugarland. Like he had this whole inspiration just from
Right.
like staying in Sugarland, and he was
Yeah.
like they're like $300-400 shirts,
Wow.
but then Dallas he has like a gray one and with the blue letter and it says Dallas, and like a lot of people wearing that one too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like a lot of people take like from the
Stuff in the
Texas,
city.
yeah.
And the
uh,
culture is infectious, man.
Yeah.
You know.
but it's just like when you see Sugarland on the
You
shirt.
know, we know.
Yeah, we
It's
know,
like-
but
We
it's
know.
like when we think of Sugarland, we're like, nah, like it's Sugarland. But he made it like look cool, and it's just
Yeah.
like,
crazy with the whole, you know, the culture and everything. Talking about culture in Houston, everything like that. Me and you have talks about that stuff all the time, and I have a question for you, bro. Is like, you know, with Houston's music from the past and current, I feel like Atlanta's getting a lot of the southern shine, and I feel like we have a really strong, you know, music sound. We you know, Drake is heavily influenced by us and
Right.
things like that. I'm confused until why aren't we getting like a mainstream run? I mean, Travis is doing his thing,
Yeah.
and
For sure.
you know,
I mean, I think the lack of industry infrastructure here, you know, it was the gift and curse of the city for so long, it being like a really independent based city. Like we had Southwest Wholesale back in the day, which is the CD distribution company. That's where all the local artists, you go there and you drop a project and they'll distribute it all across the state. And, you know, you drop an album, Slim will drop an album, or anybody, and you'll get 100 racks.
yeah.
Because you're gonna go sell real units and get your $8 a pop off of it, you know, without leaving the state
Yeah.
boundaries. You know, the state was really self-sufficient, of course, in the city as well. So that's why everybody was always screaming, you know, we independent out here. We didn't have no major labels, you know. And then, of course, with the model set up by Rap A Lot, you know, it was like, all right, you can really do it on your own, and you don't need, you know, when no limit up the street, Cash Money up the street. So that stuck with the city for so long, and in the type of music you had to make to sell those units was straight Texas music, which only people from here could really truly identify with. So man, it was, I think when the game transitioned and the money got slim and, you know, it got short, and you weren't getting the same return on investment or the most bang for your buck, and the guys who were making the big money, then it's kind of like, yo, I'm not about to sell the same product for cheap, you know. And then and I don't even say they got lazy, they just stopped putting out the product that they used to put out, you know. The volume definitely slowed up, and it was like, and then some of the major guys who had put in all that underground work started going major, and they were like, all right, cool, I'm getting this major money now, so it's like I ain't got to do this independent hustling anymore. And then it became you know, over time there was just a big disconnect, because even though everybody loved this culture and you know, and the music and the style of music and that was getting put out, as times changed and the music evolved, you know, a lot of the music here kind of stayed the same. And without having the proper industry support, no real PR here, no labels really, you know, they weren't checking in after they came and milked this dry. They just kind of dipped, and you know, they weren't really, there was no more like real true creative development. There wasn't like a lot of artists from here, new artists that were able to just get shine or get networked and connected with other major artists from different, you know, areas and regions. Like when you had that era of Currency, Wiz, Big Sean, Cole, Dom, Kendrick, you know, and they were all like some kind of way, one of them was working with the other or something. Like we didn't have anybody from here in that generation, you know, that was on the climbing the ladder at that same time. You know, Travis kind of came right after that, and he didn't come up here. He had to go elsewhere, you know. And so, because there wasn't the industry here for it, there was nowhere to really, there was not an outlet to put his music out. And I think that's really what, you know, that's where that big gap happened when, you know, when Texas, quote unquote, or Houston fell off for the longest, you know, because you had these kids coming up now, the 21-year-old rapper in 2012, you know what I'm saying, like in 2002 when that Houston music was really popping or whatever and was coming up, that kid was 10 years old, you know what I'm saying, and then, you know, he can't identify with slab culture the way, you know, or his peers can identify with. So if he's chasing a sound, trying to make like, oh, I need to make a Houston record, I need to make a slab record. I'm seeing 18-year-old kids sending me these slab records, and I know they probably never even been in a slab, never seen swangers in real life, but they're like, I gotta chase this music, I have to make this type of music. But like your peers, the kids that's in school with you, they don't know, you know what I'm saying, the 18-year-old in 2015,
they're not relating to it.
They're not relating to it, you know. And so it was, I think a lot of that played a part into, you know, why, you know, Houston just kind of like slowed down, didn't level up with a lot of the other different regions and, you know, and areas, man, especially like Atlanta. Atlanta just always pushing the culture forward. They always got something new, and the new sound is always evolving. It's not about like, oh, this is that Atlanta sound. Like Atlanta has this, that Atlanta sound changes every 3 to 5 years, you know.
And I also feel like the Atlanta's heavyweights, like Jermaine Dupri and artists, you know, Gucci Mane, because he's a predecessor to a lot of these guys.
Sure.
They did their thing, and they made sure there was a lane for the next guys to come up.
Oh, they passed the torch.
Yeah.
Like, yo, on another level, because, you know, I don't know what it is. I'm sure there's like some big just industry town hall meeting is like, yo, this, you know, this the next guy. We gonna all press go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure there's some kind of residuals that's kicking back to everybody some kind of way. Like, you know, it's like an investment, man. It's like, yo, this is the next one we're going to invest in. Because I know, I see it. I see the impact, you know, from all the way, like when it was a Rich Homie Quan, when it was his time. Like, this was all about Rich Homie. When the Migos, it was their time. All about the Migos. When, you know, it's like that about every artist. Then they went to Young Thug. Then they went to, you know, it was like whoever Gucci put his hand over, you know what I'm saying? It was that I seen like all the DJs from there were smashing on it, and then everybody, the industry guys, my emails were getting blasted with these artists, and all the mixtape sites were really focusing on that artist, and they impacted, like they were all on. It's like they were all on the same page for that artist at that time.
It's a lot of homegrown hype.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's like they really supporting their own the right way. You know, they're not all over the place. Like they're gonna impact and be on the same page collectively, man, and really push. And,
you know, I give Slim, because I personally feel like Slim has been doing a similar thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because, you know, his, what's the album? Not the mixtape that he does every year that he gives, like, all the new guys. Because Sauce Walker got his run.
Yeah. So he did, like, like
Was
a
it-
Welcome to Houston, and I mean Slim got a bunch of tapes. I don't.
Yeah, you got
There's something Sundays or something. I can't remember. I feel bad, like, but he does one.
Oh, he was doing Thugger Thursday.
Thugger
so
Thursdays.
So when that started, it was like a Thugger Thursday thing. It was like a freestyle every Thursday. And this, man, we used to record these at I stayed in Edo, my little townhouse, and he stayed there too as well in Edo, and so we would record these every Thursday, and then it ended up becoming a mixtape. But it was like he just have everybody come to the house, like from Doe Beezy to whoever, Kirko, all that, and just like come through and record. And Slim's always kind of been about that, even since the Boss Hog days. He's always like putting a local artist on, man. I mean him. All the guys who had they clicks like that, from even with Swisher House and Watts and all them, they used to do that. Trey with Slab, they all would feature different artists that they were connected with. But Slim, he's been doing it.
Yeah,
for
and I
long,
was
yeah,
like,
for sure.
But what do you think stops like the artist from, I guess, furthering after, like, okay, like if Slim will put them on an album or a mixtape or Thugger Thursdays, what do you think stops that artist from moving forward now?
Man, for a moment,
PR.
yeah, PR. When the artist releasing these songs, it's just kind of like them putting it out, and maybe Slim retweeting or reposting or whatever artist reposting it, but like it wasn't getting to the outlets. You're not getting, it wasn't getting a Complex Fader, or any what was going on at the, any of those blogs at that time, like Two Dope Boys and all, what I'm saying? It was only a few guys that were getting those looks, what I'm saying, from back then. But like you can't just drop something and like bam, something from Texas on Pitchfork or Noisy's gonna show love to it. Like it's like you got to be connected all the way in.
What he's saying is very true, because I've seen some artists, and when they release music, it's like a machine turns on.
Yeah,
And it's
an impact, man.
And it makes a
It-
big
yeah.
difference, because the internet is the tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we in the hood, and ambulance is gonna go by all day. And not to negate what you were saying, the thing that's been ringing with me, and I'm so happy we had you here, and it was like perfect timing. So Bun was on the Breakfast Club,
Right.
and I love that he shout out Toby. Toby,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
doing your thing. And OTB Fastlane, he got a
Smash,
banger
yeah.
for real right now. But the thing that ringing with me is when DJ Envy was like, still the Houston artists still not working together. Like, what the hell was that? I've never experienced that.
Wait, what did he say? Hold on.
He said that our Houston artists still not working together.
Well, I mean, it's the outside looking in. He's not.
They weren't working
Yep.
together, man. Like you had those camps and those cliques were really those little separate factions. They were like really just sticking to themselves. There wasn't a lot of collaborating, man. I remember, it was when I came, that was a real big north side, south side situation. Like that was not. It was not happening, man. They were not working together. Like Slim and Kiki did a project together, or Slim was doing records with Southside guys, and it was like that was big anthems for the city. And I never understand it when I first got here, like why it meant so much. But it was because like they really didn't rock with each other back like that, And then so
It derived from, look at your shirt. That's really like,
that's where it started from.
I
Astronaut.
swear.
Okay, I heard that. Yeah,
it's
used to
really
be like a war ground.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every week, north side, south side.
Yeah.
Well, for me growing up, at least, like Slim was a superstar for me growing up. Like, cause I went to Aldine.
Okay.
He went to Ike,
yeah,
so
yeah.
when we would play them in any sport, Slim would be there.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just as a kid, oh, that's Slim. Like we'll be like, for us, he was a superstar, and just like you said, like I mean, I didn't even know what the hell was going on, but I just knew I didn't like Southside for no reason. I
It was
just
an
knew.
automatic.
I just knew like, yo, I was
Yeah.
from the north. We just don't like Southside.
Nah, it's. I'm 33, so it's like the guys between 32 and 38 were just being stupid as
Yeah.
hell when we went there.
And
Like,
that's how it was.
because we all went to similar high schools and everything like that. So we played each other in football. I didn't play Pop Warner, but some of the Pop Warner guys would play with each other. So Houston's so huge that you could literally not know a guy from the north side of Houston. But if you're on the south side of Houston, it's not a thing for somebody from Braeswood to have a family member in Missouri City.
Right.
So it's possible, but like no, most people didn't go from this. So this is how it kind of.
I know
And-
dudes said they never crossed I-10. Like that was like a thing. It
That
was
was-
like,
yeah,
it's
we
like I never been south of I-10. I was just like, yo, what? Like I didn't understand that.
It was like third ward and down.
Yeah.
That was it. So it's yeah. But how do you feel about the music now? do you think that's still a problem or?
And so
Like,
now I
what-
think we have a different set of ears here in the city now. So like, Houston or the Houstonians, they're not the same. Like you have so many people that moved here that are from elsewhere for one. You know what I'm saying? Like I think from back in 2013, they were moving like 5,000 people a month here. You know what I'm saying? The city is definitely growing and is super diverse from with people that are from everywhere else. So they're not really born and raised with that Houston, Texas culture. So now it's just kind of become all right, I like what I like, whether, it's just either dope or it's not. And it's not even about where you from. It's almost like, okay, like so many people didn't know Don Toliver's from Houston, or like a lot of people wouldn't even know unless you really just thoroughly listen to Toby's music, like from back I'm from the SWAT, you wouldn't know he was from Houston because it's not like traditional Houston sound. It's not like he's wearing like he's throwing up the H in every video and stuff like that, So because the people aren't here for that, they just want to hear dope music. So I think now it's like it's a dope time, man, for the creators to come out because the music is getting received well, as long as it's hot, and the people are on it. And then it's a wave, you know what I'm saying? Everybody want to catch a wave.
Yeah.
Houston's is a real big, I love the city, but they really ride, it's a bandwagon city with a lot of the fans, man. Like they gonna jump on what they feel like everybody else is on, man. And it's a good and bad thing.
No, it's true because
hometown hype makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, I think in a sense too, like history repeats itself because as you were saying, like there was kids that were talking about slabs that had never been in the slabs, and I think there's a lot of kids or younger artists per se that are like chasing that Travis Scott sound now, just the sound because it's working for him, it's gonna work for me. So that's what, in a sense that's what they thought. Okay, if I rap about slabs, it's gonna work for me. If I rap about this, rap about that, it's gonna work for me. And a lot of people are chasing that particular sound. That's what I'm hearing. And a lot of these younger
I do hear a lot of that.
I'm not gonna say names, but there's a lot of people that I just pop up on the social media. I'm like, oh, when did you start sounding like that, or why are you so heavy on that auto tune? And it really sounds bad, but
oh yeah, that's a fine dance you gotta do with that auto tune.
Man, some of them it's just like overbearing in the ears. It's like
you either got it or you don't.
Yeah,
man,
So, I mean, who are people in the city that are ringing besides? We've already mentioned OTB. I think he has his own song, his own sound. He's not like coming down. It's like
but it's still Houston. Like it's still you still feel it. It's still North Side and it's Houston, but it's like it's just real street music. You know. Of course, you got like Young Al Bontent, man.
Is he out yet?
I don't know, but prayers up for him. For sure.
Who's that? Backstory?
He got a song called Jungle Freestyle. It's a freestyle on A Boogie with the Hoodie beat.
Yeah.
But it's like a hood anthem. It's, I like to call it what I call it. This genre. It's called it's called pain. I call it pain trap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like the painful trap music, man. It's like
she cheated on me and my boy
did me wrong. They crabs in the bucket. They don't want to see you make it. Music, man. And my teacher told me it wasn't gonna be shit. Like, knowing damn well they didn't. I mean, but no. But Al got the record. The record's hard. But I joke and laugh at it because I can identify with it because I mean I didn't really just go through that, so I'm not gonna sit here and just claim that. But people have been through that, so I guess they rap about it. But we clown it because it became a wave all of a sudden, like you know what I'm saying. But anyway, Young Al, man, he got that song. It's like it's no hook. It's just like a freestyle.
Straight 2 minutes.
The beat doesn't have a lot of movement in it, man. It's just like it's a real empty beat, but it's got that. It's kind of like just like a trap ballad, and man, they screaming in the club, because it's like some real like that pain trap talking about what they've been going through and people relate to it. But then, so he got that record. Who else is popping out here? Of course, we said Don. Les still doing his thing. We got his whole wave.
Just came back from Japan.
yeah, man. I mean, there's new dudes like this kid Wes Blanco.
Oh yeah.
He got. I like what he got going, man. Yeah, Enchilada. Then you got other people, like there's a female rapper.
Yeah.
Meg Thee Stallion, Libra Jolie.
Yeah.
And then on R&B side, you got the girl Peyton.
Yeah.
That was with Milky Wave.
Yeah.
Her song just was on Insecure. on the last episode of
was?
Insecure.
Wait, hold on. Insecure's back?
Yeah, we 4 episodes in.
Yeah, on the last episode, they play out. I was like, wow. And, you know, that's pretty much spearheaded by the homie Bobby Earth. He from here, but he just relocated to LA. But yeah, they got a whole little wave, like heavily the internet band influenced vibe. Man,
I know there's so many, and I don't want to get you in trouble. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, don't hold on to my mind, not my heart, you know, because it's a lot. There's a lot of heat out here, man. Yeah,
and you've listed some people I don't even know. I'm more on the rap side, so I hear it as it's coming out and everything like that. But you gonna have to give me a list.
Yeah, definitely.
So I can get caught up.
Yeah, even on like, you know, on some non-rap vibe, there's a lot going on out here, man. You know, Emerald Soul, she's popping. There's a chick, she got that vibe, man. You know, like that SoundCloud mood, that I don't know, it's like just that new R&B vibe is the way, like neo soul type vibe she got going. Yeah, they, you know, streaming heavy, man, doing good numbers. A lot of them are, and they, you know, amassing like real fans, not just here.
Do you think that's gonna help Houston for say? Because us being the third largest city, I mean, creative per square foot we're just gonna have more.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense for us to be. It shouldn't just be New York, L.A., Atlanta. We should be in the mix. Like I said, creative per.
Well, the calls are different now, man. You know, I used to always get calls about playing records from labels. Now it's, you know, they're asking me about records. They're asking me about these artists, which is kind of cool. You know.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask you too. Just like how's like I guess that time changed from, like, you know, back in the day it was like if the DJ wasn't spinning your shit, like you really weren't popping there. Now it's not like
DJ. We don't break the records. I mean, not to throw that out there. I don't know if I'm breaking the code, but
nah. I mean,
at the end of the day, like at the end of the day, it's just a fact, man. Like we used to be where I was the first source of, you know, of music for a lot of people. Like, you know, it was the first time you heard a song was from me playing it at whatever venue I was at, you know, because we would have the music before everybody. And then that was the same with radio. But now, you know, this little phone in your hand is, you know, and these apps, man, they're going to get the music to you. You're going to hear it before I do, you know. So now it kind of changed into, all right, now as a DJ, it's about playing the new music that the people want to hear the way they want to hear it, you know, and that's one of our jobs. And then for breaking artists is about using our platform to support them, to support that artist, of course, whatever record is hot for them, or to use our network or whatever way we can to, like, you know, to put them out there. It's more than just the music, you know. It's more than just press and play in front of a crowd, you know. Yeah. So
Rogers is being modest. For a good period, if like there was like a good 1 year period where I wasn't around Rogers, and I was so behind on music.
Well, I mean, even with me not going out as much, I mean, I feel like I don't hear anything, just like.
Nah. So I heard Sheck West by listening on the internet. I was just on YouTube. That's an easy. I'll tell anybody, if you want to hear new music, just let YouTube do its thing.
Yep.
And you'll get to something, and
pop
you'll
up,
look up and be like,
yeah.
Yeah. But so I heard Sheck West, and I didn't even bother you, because I was just like, it had like 600,000 or 400,000 views. I was like, nah. I just like it because of who I am, you know. You know, him a West African, you know, artist. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. He's black, dark, shiny. He's shiny black.
Let me sport.
Yeah, and he plays sports. Yeah, so yeah, so we're in Jet. Shout out to A Life, Junior Martin.
Word, family, family.
Yeah. So you were in Jet, and he, Mo Bamba. I was like, I fool with my guy. We went to my boy's bachelor party in Miami, and no discredit to Miami, and I know a lot of those guys aren't from Miami, so I'm not knocking Miami, but like I told you, where were we at? Rose Gold?
Yeah,
like
so.
I'm like, excuse me, get out of my way. Hey, Rogers. Boy, you cold, boy. Because like,
appreciate it.
and that's another thing. I'm like, bro, from going to different cities. Now Atlanta they got them DJs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a natural byproduct because they have a lot of the music. But, you know, New York, L.A. has a different kind of vibe. And I've seen you kind of go there. You used to go to supper on Tuesdays, and you crashed that.
It was a good time.
So club DJ wise, I don't understand why, but you are in the top tier of club DJ
man, I
wise.
appreciate that.
But see,
man.
like, I mean, even I know that, but and I'm not saying you, but why do you think it takes for people to leave the city to appreciate what's here?
That was one thing I was gonna say.
Like, why do you think that happens? Because like,
why do I guess go? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Because like they said, he went to Miami. He's like, oh, those DJs were trash, and I mean, I don't care what. I have no ties to Miami, so he was saying that they were trash. And he comes back like, yo, you really out here popping. But he already knew that, so I'm not saying him. But why do you think that happens to like other people, whether it be an artist-wise, rapper, other DJs? Like, why do you think people got to leave Houston per se, or Texas, or anywhere, to appreciate the culture?
I mean, you get accustomed and spoiled and used to things,
Mm-hmm.
of course, and then it's like the same with with cooking. If you like a certain type of food or whatever, and you go,
Our food's so good down here.
like if you go to a different area and you so used to eating, Houston is like this restaurant capital to me, man. I just love the food here, man. And you go elsewhere and you're gonna miss that, because especially if you walk into the wrong restaurant, it's just like you walking into the wrong club hearing the wrong DJ. Because I mean, like in Miami, like Efeezy is a monster. That's my dog,
Shout out to
and
Efeezy.
he's a god on the tables, man. Like with rocking the party, you know what I'm saying. But if you don't happen to walk in the Efeezy party and you walk into somebody else's club, you're gonna have a bad experience. And that's in any city, and so like. I mean, no, I appreciate it. Definitely we'll smell the roses, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I also like you used to hearing, I guess a certain style or whatever, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer really is to that, man, because I don't like to own anything that
So,
I think that
we're in Supper Club.
stars all over the city, all over the country, man.
Supper Club, and the people still rocking with him. So because those are my tests. I sit down and I'm being a photographer, I'm a natural people watcher, and I can, if I look at you for a little bit, I can kind of, okay, he's either you like it or you're busy on your phone. You were killing it there. The other thing is there's usually like some top dogs, and then everybody else is an underling. The new guys, and I'm not saying you have a bunch of underlings, but there's people who kind of will have things they take from you, and that determines, your best DJs determine the level of your city. And I'm telling you, like Houston wise, I think we have some really, really good DJs.
We have some dope DJs here.
Really good DJs, to the point where a lot of our DJs have traveled. I can go to High C. What's the old light skinned guy? He's gonna be Ag has traveled.
I mean, for the longest, man, the city was the hardest city for out of town DJ to come and rock, and that was because they didn't have the Houston music, and that was a must. Even the Dallas music, the Texas music, when that boogie era was popping, if you wasn't from Texas, you probably really didn't have it because it wasn't distributed out everywhere and it wasn't popping everywhere else. Because going back to it being an independent market, and it kind of just was self-contained. Then you had. Then when Katrina happened and we had the influx of New Orleans here, and that whole wave came, and the bounce sound and the whole Louisiana vibe, the trill vibe from Baton Rouge sound, the whole BR bounce, that all came here, and that wasn't really nationally everywhere. And you had to play, you had to do a Boosie Webby set. You had to run that beat, you had to run a bounce set, and those DJs from New York, LA, DC, Miami, Atlanta, they weren't playing that in their market. So, they'll come here and the bounce song they'll play would be Chopper style. And then be like, yo, we not, they not trying to, New Orleans people are problem. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear that real underground, like it ain't on the internet. You only got this from a CD pass from the homie, bounce remix or whatever, and especially because none of that music was actually sold because it was all sampled. It was nothing was getting cleared, or it was like remixes. So like you really had to have like a direct connect and plug on the music and really know the music to DJ here. So it made it hard for any out of town DJ, man. Unless it was like Kid Capri, Jazzy Jeff, or like them guys coming, on some real DJ old school vibes. But yeah, so we made it hard out here. But it also it allowed us to hone, our skills because we get to work in Houston 7 days a week, man, and then you do have with people from everywhere else here though, so like not only we just have our locals, but we have people from LA, New York, and all that, so you can rock them too. So then that way we're just really well versed as DJs, man.
'Cause the city
With all
being a
our
melting pot.
being a melting pot like it is, you know. We're really, you know, we can go all over with it, and we can go to any city and know what to play, you know.
I was solidified with your 1 hour Future mix, and then his 30-minute Nigerian mix. That was a funny period too. He would ask me, "Hey Fred, what's this?" And I'm like, "Bro, I know some, but I don't know it all, dog."
Oh man.
But
Shout out to all the Nigerians in the city, because that's how I got my Niger library is lit. Because every day someone would come to me like, you know, it'd be either from Domination Nation or like Igbo Boy Chris or whatever, or like somebody, or man, either back then like Adi or anybody or you, they was like, yo, you need this record, and it's like, all right, cool. And I download it. Like I would take that request gracefully, like,
what's
yo,
from Atlanta? Oh, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
What's that Nigerian
let
song?
me get that Nigerian record right now, because I know them boys is gonna chop that money.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
they
real,
gonna
for
throw
real.
yeah, man.
Do you have any traditional wear?
I don't have any tradition. I need some traditional
Listen,
wear, bro.
all my Nigerian listeners, Toby, we need to get.
I need it.
He needs it.
Cause
We need
like,
to get it done.
yo, I love Suya.
I've seen you.
I love Suya. I frequent Suya Hut a lot. I kind of like they changed up the spice a little bit, but yeah, man. And then I like Grilled Delights. When they posted up out the club, yeah, man. I got my own Suya rub at the crib, man. I make some
Oh,
Suya
this
at the
that new
house.
Mr. Roger rub right here, baby.
Oh man, I love Suya. Yeah, no. So honorary Naja, man. Just, you know.
We're going to get that done, man. But, man, thank
hold,
you.
hold on, hold on,
Oh,
hold on.
you had something. I
No,
apologize.
because I mean, as I've been listening to you, I mean, I've always known this, but you seem to really have like a really just good eye and ear for music. I mean, outside of the DJing, have you ever thought about like managing, PRing, A&Ring with somebody, or working with like?
I guess it was just so much we ain't touched. Yeah. So myself and my business partner, who's also my manager, David Anderson, we started a company called the Heist Agency, and we currently we manage DJ Shantae, Good Grief. Then we have artists like visual artists like Donkey Boy, and then we have musicians. We have this artist named Zena Oida. She's an international artist. Libra Jolie, Lil Rari. He also knows YJ. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
I don't
YJ,
know
yeah,
why
yeah.
I didn't not mention him. Like his dude's music's incredible, and he's about to have a big year.
Yeah, I've been waiting for him to pop for a minute actually.
Yeah, so we're managing him. So that's kind of, you know, how much time we got?
Check how much time we got. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So yeah, man, I started managing back when I had my little DSF label, and it was a group we had called the Party Boys, man. And I don't know if people know the backstory on that. The song hit them with the flex. So me and my homies, we wrote and produced it. These are guys that were partying at all the college parties I did at PV. And they were from Dallas, and they would just always do this dance to the Paper Plane song by MIA. They'll circle a girl, and as the song used to build up, like dun 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 dun. It was like a ghetto Macarena. And then when the song dropped, they would just start flexing, and so it became like the thing. And then like one day I was like, yo, we gotta get these dudes to the studio. Want to make a record. So, man, I was going to Dallas. On the way back from Dallas, I was driving on my laptop on Fruity Loops, and I was making a beat. Stupid, like multitasking, like an idiot. And so I'm on 45 driving, and I'm trying to produce this beat, but I didn't have my keyboard or nothing, so I'm just on my laptop, and so I'm just like kind of just chopping these drum samples up, and that's how the flex beat came. I was like, I want to make kind of like a boogie beat, kind of like my Dougie.
Yeah.
And that's how that doom 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 kind of came about, and it was really just like a simple beat because I couldn't make a complex like beat or whatever and do any real leads. So anyway, came back with the beat. At that time, Dero was at PV, and then Superstar, who made the Halle Berry song, was at PV, and I was like, I played it for them one day at a hump day, this thing we call hump day, which is like a Wednesday at lunch at PV, and you had all the students out there. Well, they were all dancing and boogieing to it, and then I was like, yo, we need to do a record to this. And my boy DeMarcus, Party Boy DeMarcus, RP, he was like, that was like my bro who's a link to the Party Boy guys. He knew them personally. He was like, yo, man, we need to make a song for this dance. So we called him to the house one day. It was like 10, 15 of them. None of them rapped, and they just all danced. And we were like, yo, we gonna make a song to this. And then, man, they just kind of all started writing, and we all started writing and just kind of put a song together. And that was Hit 'Em With The Flex. And I was managing them, and they were on my label. and man, I had them, a bunch of artists like D-Ray, Young Black, a couple guys, and then and even with Les, like Les, I met Les at this sneaker store called Sucker Punch back in the Gap. Drano gave me a CD of his a while back, and then I met him at Sucker Punch, and he was like, yo, I was the guy that Drano gave you my CD. And that night I sent him like 10 beats. 3 days later, he sent me 10 songs, and we were like, he recorded. He came to the studio, and then from there, that's how like that happened. It was like, all right, he came to Boss Hog, bam, we about to be doing work, and so Les was an artist like that was, I kind of was, instrumentally managing or whatever. I probably produced like 70% of his music.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna ask. I thought did y'all do a mixtape?
we done probably
Several
about
ones?
15.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it was me and Les. Like,
Yeah.
that was me and Les at the Hog Pen, and then introduced him and got him with Slim, and then eventually he went to J Life. But everything has always been me and Les, like that's kind of like a brother. But yeah, so yeah, I either indirectly instrumentally managed guys. I did it like even like with Dice and Sammy.
That's another people
that was
I
a,
wanted to touch on.
yeah. And I once again they're doing big things about the city as well. And them homies, I got them with their Dice isn't with Score More, but I got Sammy with Score More. He's managed by Sasha. So that was the intro. It was kind of like I seen what they were doing here, but they didn't have the infrastructure. And at the time, really, there's only two people now there's a couple, but there was only two people that I felt that was here in Texas that we can reach out to that were real industry guys who weren't rappers or producers. And it was Sasha from Score More, what he's done with Tory Lanez, what he's done with his brand and everything. And then you had and then Dutchington, which is the homie, he manages Big Crit. That was he actually stayed in my dorm. He rapped with me back when it was DSF. Which is a crazy story. But yeah, he left PV, managed Nappy Roots, managed a bunch of artists, and then he smoked Dizza, and then he ended up managing Big Crit. So now he's Crit's manager. But yeah, so it was like those two guys. It was like, yo, any artist that was coming out of here, this is who needs who they need to be with or whatever. So it's kind of like, if I'm not directly managing them, it's kind of like, just using my resources and network to try to put them in and connect it with the right people, man. So when we're trying to grow that brand now, the Heist Agency, like I really want to do for the city what's been, fill that void, getting the talent out of here, man.
Yeah, when little things like DJ Envy being in the same club that you're DJing in, and he brings back OTB Fast Lane song several times and gets on the mic and says, yo, this is the hot shit. And Envy gets out of his phone and tunes in. And, and What's Your Face Bun had said the same thing. So now it's like, it's two people who know what the hell they're talking about.
Talking about this record.
Let me tune in. Like, it goes from, boy, get that Houston stuff out of here to, all right, this might be a thing. Let me check in.
It's about, like, and I made a post about this, it's about connecting the right dots,
Toby and Crit.
I mean, yeah. So doing Bun Show, how that happened, and those two, I had a post, there's a picture of me, Toby, and Crit, and I was like, hey, it was about connecting the right dots. So at Bun Show, of course, Toby was there chilling, and Crit had performed as a surprise guest. And so as we wrapping up, Crit just pops up on the booth with me, and he just, chopping it up or whatever. And right there, Toby was right there, and I was just like, yo, this needs to happen.
Yeah,
like, this
for
has
sure.
to happen.
No, for sure.
And then next thing you know, then Jeff, Toby's manager, was like, yo, man, you think, like, you can, intro Toby to Crit? I was like, oh, that's already done. I was like, yo, I had told Crit, I was like, yo, I said, man, you know the homie Toby? He was like, yeah, I'm familiar, man. Dude's dope. I was like, man, he right here. I said, I need to meet, man. And then that was it. And then they like connected, and they had like a long convo, and they, and they exchanged info, and it was like, all right, this has to happen, and it was right, because not like right before that, another artist who's popping came up to Crit and was like, what's up, blah blah. They definitely weren't on the same wavelength, and but and it was like, yeah, man, we need to link up, we need to work. and it was just like the cliche. Hey, we need to work, and it just, and I was like, this is never gonna
Lincoln
happen.
Bill.
It never needs to happen. It's not gonna happen. Like y'all not about to pull a Waka Flocka and Wale No Hands record. Like that was a 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about to happen. So yeah, I seeing that fake energy get exchanged to seeing like the genuine, organic, connection with them. That's like, I feel that's our job, man. As DJ, that's my role. If I can do it. I mean, man.
See you as an exec.
Man,
See you
I
up
mean,
there.
ultimately, it would be dope to sit back and be an A&R and like, and really just kind of like creatively develop talent and connect those dots. I always feel like I know what artist needs to be with what producer, what sound, what goes well together, man. Whether it's in the club mixing a record or whether it's like with creating a record, man. I just always feel like even as a producer, my production is more not a talent or like in the skill of making the music. I just know how it's supposed to sound in the end. So that's how a lot of my sound, that's how it comes. That's why it's a real sample-based thing, because I can't really necessarily play what I want to hear, but I know I can find that sample that's gonna sound dope as fuck, and then I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna know what drums, and what tempo and what vibe it needs to have. Yes, I definitely feel like, I don't know, it's in the cards to kind of like help kind of curate the sound of
You heard it here first, guys.
But do you think people like? Do you think you get enough appreciation for like? Because I I'm younger than y'all, but I've been seeing you for years and years and years, and I've known bits and pieces of the things that you've done, or like how you may have had your hand in this, had your hand in that. But of course, I didn't know the whole backstory. But not just sitting here talking to you and hearing all these stories, like, I'm just seeing how much more you had your hand in the pot of a lot of moving pieces in Houston. Like, but do you think people like appreciate you? Do you feel appreciated?
I mean, I haven't really worn a lot of it on my sleeve, It's Beyonce's birthday. I'm owed a plaque for Checkup on it because I recorded Slim on Checkup on it. I engineered that record, He got a Grammy for that, I think, but I don't think he got his plaque either yet. But anyway, I recorded a lot of records for, for different, for artists and stuff like that, that have gotten platinum plaques and stuff. I mean, at that time, it wasn't social media, man. Of course, it wasn't popping. I couldn't really broadcast what I was doing. And then I'm not the guy, like, you're not going to probably see on my profile a lot of pictures of me with an artist, so unless it's like that Toby and Crit thing where I know them personally and I really connect with them, or like really about like this not a clickbait, So I just think for those who know, they know, and that's been a gift and a curse, because a lot of people are like, man, you need to put it out there more, what you're doing, all that, because I know, perception becomes reality, man. But I've just never really been the one, like I'm not gonna put the money on the gram. I don't wear jewelry, I what I'm saying, like I had a grill, I didn't really wear it, it's just so like that kind of transfers over to with my accolades, man, and it's like I said, it's a gift and a curse, because I know a lot of guys who put out what they do and the work that they put out and everything all the time, and it works in their favor, because that's how you sell it, that's how you build a press kit. That's how you sell it to corporate, to get the look. And I don't know, that's a battle I'm always fighting, because
We've said it on this podcast. If you're gonna run out of fake, but you can never run out of real. And if that's who you really are, you're not gonna run out of it. And eventually, all the fakeness around you, when it runs out, you stand out and shine. So I don't think you should stop doing whatever. You can make tweaks, but at the end of the day, whatever is really you, you got to keep doing it.
I mean, I live by this, man. It's like, you're going to hear about me or see me without me telling you about me. And if not, that means I got more work to do. And that's it. That's just how I like the work to sell itself, man. Like,
and it's funny that you say, because where this question came from for me is because I think it was like a week or maybe 2 weeks ago. You were like all over Travis Scott's story, and I was like, why haven't I was like, I know Roger's done a lot. I was like, but there's still like, he don't put it out there, but I know he's done a lot. And I was like, for like, as of right now, I mean, you could arguably say Travis Scott is a superstar right now.
Yeah.
And just him putting you on the stories and giving you a shout out, like that to me, I was like, damn, that's dope. And I was like, and that's where my question stemmed from. I was like, man, I wonder if Rogers gets like the recognition that he deserves. And as I've sat here and I listened to you talk about all these other like past stories before Travis Scott was probably even making music with, the PV days, the Slim Thug days,
The
being
Drake days.
Yeah, all them
Man,
days. And it's like now you're
we
still.
ain't talk about that. That's what usually people ask me about the Drake situation.
Like you're still very relevant in like today's culture, which I think is like hard for a lot of people to do in general. So that's where my question stemmed from, and it's like you said, like even though you're not putting it all out there, it's still being shown by, arguably one of the biggest people out right now, out of this city, and probably in the music industry.
No,
So
that
I think
was
it's
love.
dope. Yeah, so I think it's really dope.
You broke Drake out here too.
Usually everybody want to ask me about that, and I never really, I guess, done it like on record. We talked about it, man. But
Let's get that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I
First podcast.
For me, it was MySpace. Like I tell you, I get on the internet and I just let it roll. And
I mean, there's a bunch of different versions of the story of like how Drake got to Houston or whatever. And I mean, all I know is like, okay, so back in it's like 06, 07, my little sis, I call her my sis, Summer Walker. She's used to be like Hype Williams' major video girl at that time or whatever. She's a super creative director now. She built studios and does studio design, and she also runs the Laverne group, which is with Black. So she's behind that. She's like, yeah. So she designed that studio, all that. Anyway, she's from Beaumont, but she's fire. And then she has an artist that she signed whose name is Summer Walker, which is an interesting story. She basically Googled herself and found this artist named Summer Walker, and then she signed her. And now that girl's popping. Dope music. Anyway, so Summer, we got cool. I don't know if she would put this out here. Anyway, she used to be friends with the homie Slim, and came to the studio at my house one day, open Jersey Village, and we were like, I was playing like, she came in, I was playing some Dwelle, and Slim was like, man, turn that, friendly music off, blah, blah, blah. This is, and it was I was a heavy neo soul head, still am, and she liked the vibe. She was like, oh, I need that music. So we connected on some music stuff, and used to just send her music or burn her CDs. And she was popping them out at that time, so I used to do these chopped and screwed CDs, and I used to have females on the cover, and I had a picture of her hosting, and she hosted the tape for me. So after that, we just became like just kindred spirits, like just homies. And fast forward, she was like, hey, I'm dating this guy from Toronto, and he rap, and he loves Houston, he loves your Texas music, he loves swing. At that time, swing was popping. He wanted some beats, so she brought dude to my house, and we was in the studio just going through a whole bunch of beats, making beats and doing all that, typical stuff you do with an artist or whatever. And I didn't know it at the fact who he was and whatever. And I'm talking about like this time I was like skating, and so he was like, we were just down there chilling. He was talking about skating. He used to skate or whatever, lightweight, and we just had like this whole just vibe session. And then I was like, okay, cool. Got his contact, was sending a bunch of beats, and she was like, yeah, his name Drake. He used to be on a Nickelodeon show. I didn't even watch Degrassi. I just heard of it, but I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, okay, cool. And so then he used to send me music, and he had a song with Trey Songz at the time, and he had a song with Dwelle. And he was like, yeah, I see you like Dwelle. I got a song with Dwelle. And it was called Don't You Have a Man? And that whole little vibe. And he was like, yo, I'm working on this tape, man. I want you to chop and screw it. And so at this time, heavy beats, sending them beats, and then he sends me the tape. And it was comeback season. So
it was just the anniversary for that one too, like a few days ago.
Yeah, it was the anniversary. So yeah, 10 year. So he was working on comeback season, and he got a song called Underdog on there with him and Trey Songz, and he's like, shout out to Mr. Rogers, you supposed to chop and screw it or whatever. So ended up I chopped and screwed it, and I never sent it to him. So because I didn't like it. So I was, with me chopping and screwing, like I was kind of like how Screw was, like it had to have that vibe.
Yeah.
So records on there had that vibe, but like I think Smalls did the tape before that, but then the way the tape was kind of put together was kind of put together like an East Coast kind of New York tape, so it wasn't the vibe. A lot of records just to me wasn't what I felt. I didn't like how it sounded, you know what I'm saying? People would have received it and liked it, whatever. So then, man, I just turned into like sending him beats and stuff like that, and we always connected and on that vibe. And then when he was like, I'm working on his next project, and this is kind of like after he got connected with Young Money, and Summer introduced him to everybody out here and putting him on with everybody in the city, kind of like show him the city, and that's how a lot of that all kind of came about, evolved. So I don't know all the details. You know, there's a lot of different stories, like how, you know, he got to Houston, but or how he got popping in Houston. But like Summer was definitely, she don't get the credit for that.
She had her hand in it for sure.
For sure. Like she was, you know, introducing them to everybody. So then, long story short, he's working on this project, which ended up becoming So Far Gone. He was like, yo, send me beats for this. I need like those real, you know, H-Town instrumentals and all that stuff like that. So send him a bunch of stuff, and he was like, yo, I need you to chop it. And so that was the vibe. And so he sent it to me. I chopped and screwed the same day, sent it back to 40. And then that was like how our whole thing, our connection happened. It was like, all right, I actually had him booked for an event here.
I remember you talking about that.
It was gonna be a Kappa TSUPB like Kappa party or something like that, right? After the basketball game in the spring, it was gonna be a Milan Pavilion. You know what I'm saying? Like about to book Drake for 5 racks. It was like, cool, man. Yeah. Me and Kerry Nelson, we were setting it up, and then next thing you know, it just stopped responding, and he was like, man, and Jazz hit me. He was like, yo, I'm doing a Drake concert where I was live, and I was like, oh, this why you're not responding no more. He's like, I need you to DJ it. I'm like, all right, cool. And then he was like, you want to DJ the tour? And I like the Texas leg, so I did, you know, I did Houston and Austin. But yeah, that was my Drake story, man. So, but
that's crazy, yo. Yeah, we definitely need like a Mr. Rogers part 2 for this. There's still so many things that like I want to touch on. It's like still so many questions I want to touch on. Like even like outside of music, just all the things you've done in the past year and stuff like that.
Because, you know, we got the Relief Gang.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like a whole bunch of things. But I was really just like, I really wanted to hone on the music. Because that's like, I mean, me personally, I love music. And just like hearing all these dope stories about you, like, shit, my respect level.
A lot of stuff just coming back to this resurfacing. We
as you talk about it, you remember it.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have like a 30-minute convo, but no, it's not. No.
All gravy.
First podcast.
Hey, pop that cherry.
Yeah.
Whoa.
God, Lee, on
God.
that
Edit
note.
out. We're gonna bleep.
On that note. Nah, let the world hear you for who you really are.
The agenda is popping.
Man, thanks again, man. We really appreciate you coming out, bro. Man, you've done tons for the city, bro. On the music side, on the, you know, humanitarian side. Ooh, I could read. You just
shout out to homie Trey, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, brother in servitude for sure. Yeah.
So, man, thanks again.
Nah, I mean, of course there is, but like I said, I mean, time is limited.
Yeah,
I'll definitely
we're gonna have to work on the Rogers part 2.
Yeah, I definitely love to have you back.
I'll be here early. We can make it happen.
All right. All right, y'all, man. Thank y'all for tuning into the Not So Cool podcast, where we make not being cool cool.
Damn.
You got this shit knocking though.